Hey Vector, Blackjack. Ah, it works. Amazing. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today I'm gonna show you real quick how to set up a simple WirePod server for a vector production bot on Raspberry Pi. In the description below you'll find all the necessary links and tips. So we're gonna need a Raspberry Pi. For a decent experience I recommend the Raspberry 4. I use a Pi 400 instead because at the time I was looking for one, Pis 4 had been purchased like there's no tomorrow and they weren't on stock anymore with long ETAs and the prices went up considerably. So I found a Pi 400 which is actually better than Pi 4, and the only personal issue that I have with it is that the Pi 4 has a keyboard and so it is quite large and you can't hide it as easy as you could hide a Pi 4. Other than that, I'm pretty satisfied with what the Pi 400 can do so far. For what I paid for it, that is around, I think, $70 at the time. Next, we need an SD card or external drive such as SSD. I use an SSD because it's so much better in terms of speed and reliability. But anyhow, in this clip, we're going to be installing the Pi OS using the Pi Imager on an SD card. And then we're going to be setting up the proper firmware on our little bot using the WirePod web setup. And after this, we're going to install the WirePod on our Raspberry Pi. And finally, we're going to be testing the server. So yeah, enough with the jibber jabber, let's get on with it. So now we want to install the Pi OS and we go to the web page. This is the web page, right? raspberrypi.com software. So you just type in Pi OS and it's the first page. Okay. So I use a Windows machine and we're going to download for Windows because on Linux the Chromium doesn't work with the WirePod web page setup. So I cannot upload the firmware on the bot. And now we should see, let's try and plug it in. Okay, this is the USB drive, it's the SD card basically, which wasn't used on Android, on a smartphone. But never mind, let's open the setup. This imager is going to format the SD itself, so it's not a problem. Let's run it. Okay, so let's choose an OS. It should be x64, like for 64-bit. Let's here at the top, so other, and 64. Not light, but the full one. Okay, and now we should choose the storage, SD card, okay. And we're gonna go into the settings, and we're gonna set the host name. Change it into escape pod. So, only escape pod, nothing else. Cannot be a different host name. And now we're gonna set up a username, and it can be whatever. And we're gonna type in, I don't know, whatever. And then we have to put a password, and I'm gonna type it whatever, I guess. And now we have to configure the wireless setup. It's already there, but we have to enable this one. See, this is the same. And then local settings can be enabled, can be disabled, doesn't matter really. We're gonna keep them enabled. Make sure it plays the sound. Double check it again. Yep, it's okay. Okay, now we saved the settings. Now it's gonna write itself. It's gonna format. Oh, the hell. Okay, now it's writing. It's good. And we have to wait till it finishes, and we'll cut the video short. And we'll be back when it's finished. So with the Pi OS finally installed, we can go to the WirePod web setup and set the firmware on the little bot. And I'm gonna actually split screen here and show you the robot and what I'm doing on the computer as well. So first we have to keep its on and off button pressed for about, I would say, 15 seconds. And I'm gonna show you here. You should see some LED, blue light LED. And then after the LED comes on, 5 more seconds and then let go the finger. And then it's gonna turn into a darker blue. And then we wait until the Anki screen comes on. And we're gonna see it here. Okay, now we have the Anki screen and we have to double press the on and off button, and now it shows a key and the password. And we have to connect it to the Bluetooth. Let's see, we have it here and we press connect. Once we press connect, it'll show the code, the Bluetooth password. And we have to enter the Bluetooth password on the web page and disable the automatic setup. I do this. I recommend doing this and go manual on this one. And now we're in. Here we can type help and we have the entire list with all the commands. I'm gonna go for Wi-Fi forget to erase everything on my bot. And then I'm gonna go for Wi-Fi scan. And the first, this is my internet connection. And I'm gonna go for Wi-Fi status, just status. And we see that it's not connected. Okay, now we're gonna go for Wi-Fi connect. Okay. Now let's go back. So we type in Wi-Fi connect and then the name of the connection, in which case my connection, and the password. I'm gonna blur it just to be safe. And now we can see that it's online. I pressed enter and now I'm gonna go for status. It's online, it's good. And now we can go for the OTA minus start command, which is right here. So it tells the vector to update its OTA or firmware. And I type OTA start and then I paste the right firmware version for escape-pod. And I was gonna update the bot with the correct version for WirePod. We're gonna cut the video short and we're gonna go from the last point in which we install WirePod basically on the Raspberry Pi OS. Okay, so this is the final step. Now we're gonna install WirePod, and basically you should have the same screen without this small icon here. What you will have though is to install the newest updates. After 1 minute or so, when you first log on, a pop-up is going to come right over here and it's going to ask you to install the newest updates. I recommend you do so. Then you reboot and it takes a few minutes to install them. And once you're back on, we're going to start installing WirePod. So first step would be to open a new terminal window, which can be done by using the keyboard. So we press Ctrl-Alt-T and we should have this window pop up, or we can just navigate with the mouse on this icon here. Okay, and then we want to open the web browser. So we click on it, we wait for it to open itself. See, the SD card is a bit slow. So that's why I chose an external SSD, basically. So now we want to type in wire minus pod on the web browser. The first link is the right one. It's from GitHub. I did put all the necessary links in the description so you wouldn't have any problems, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm gonna go through each and every step of them and explain what needs to be explained. So basically, we want to go and look for the installation guide, which is here. We want to respect this guide. We open it up, and we already did this, though we prepared the bot. And now we go to installing WirePod. We have guide number 1, Linux, because PiOS, well, it's Linux. So we have here the first command, which we're gonna copy, so Control-C to copy it. And then the terminal, we have to press Shift-Control-V to paste it, or just right-click it. And now I'm gonna open this window here. This is the home window. And once I press enter, you're gonna see a folder. This is the WirePod. Basically now it's downloading all the necessary files to install WirePod. And after it's done, we go to the next step, which would be to go to the file, to the WirePod folder location, and run the terminal from that location and execute the setup shell. So we wait for it to finish. Almost done. Okay, so now make cd and WirePod. Okay, and then sudo, which is basically the master command for Linux, and setup.hs. And it's gonna ask us for either full setup, just build the cloud, and so on. So basically we want to go for a full setup. So we press 1, then enter, and then it's gonna install the packages. We wait for it to install them. It takes a bit. After this, it's gonna ask us, I think, for the STT, or speech to text. This is the Golang. It's the language. It's like Python, C++. Okay, now it's going to ask us for what type of service for speech to text to use. I personally use Koki, never had any problems with it. It's good. There's also Pico Voice. I read something about it and I'm not sure whether to recommend it or not. And then there's VOSK, which is a newly implemented STT service. To my shame, I haven't used it, but I'm gonna try and use it in the future, in the near future, because it's multi-language and it's pretty interesting. But now we're gonna go with number 1, Koki, and press 1, enter. And now it's basically asking us whether to pick a large vocabulary or a huge one. You should go for number 2. I'm gonna go for number 1 because I want to keep this tutorial as short as possible. So let's pick number 1. Enter. Okay, and once this is done, it's going to ask us on how to connect with the vector. We can do it in 3 ways. Actually, you all have production bots, so we all should pick number 3. This number 1 and number 2 are for developer bots, and I'm pretty sure every single one of you that's watching this clip has a production bot. If not, then you should be able to know already all the necessary steps. Okay, so we'll pick number 3. Press enter, and once again we press enter. 8080, that should be the port. And now it's going to ask us for the commands, the API services, such as weather API, when you ask Vector what the weather is and so on. I'm going to go for 3 to make it short and simple, but you can go either for number 1 or for number 2 if you want to get weather calls. Check out the weather. Number 1 is weather API. You have to create an account on both of them. You have to go to the website and then register and get an account, and then on the dashboard you'll find the API key. And that API key, you want to paste it here, because if you press either 1 or 2, it's going to ask you for a key. So I'm going to press number 3, but keep in mind, number 1, the weather API has 2 weeks of free subscription. You can make calls and free of charge. And then you have to go for paid membership. I don't know the value of it. It's a few bucks, I think. And number 2, it's free, but I didn't have much time to tweak around with it, because it uses not a random location, but a default location, and it uses from the London forecast. So I couldn't change it to Romania. I didn't have any time to do so. But you can pick either number 1, number 2 is free, as far as I know. So I'm gonna go with number 3, and then it's gonna ask me to pick either from Houndify, OpenAI, or no, in terms of knowledge graph. Basically, this is when I ask Vector a question. I say, hey Vector, I have a question. I use Houndify. It's good, it works. I don't know much about OpenAI. I should, I know, but I didn't have any time to check it out. So you have to pick either 1, 2, maybe 3 if you don't want any of this. If you're gonna pick 1 or 2, again, you have to input, besides inputting a key, you also have to put a client ID. So again, go to Houndify or OpenAI, register. On the dashboard, you're gonna see both the client ID and the API key, and you'll have to paste them here. So I'll go with 3, and this should be it. Okay, it says everything is set up and WirePod is ready to start, but it's not on just yet. So to run it, we have to execute this command here, and I'm gonna go with pasting it, and it should be able to start the chipper, which starts the server. Anyhow, after this is all done, we should be able to have Vector working. And so after this is done and we check Vector, we're gonna go and run these 2 lines. Okay, let's see, is that over? Not just yet. So these 2, okay, starting the exit status 1, what? Loading plugins. What's this? Okay, so this is so intent minus data, JSON, no such file. Let's see. So this is the chipper, and it says that in intent minus data, there's no file name strictly JSON, which should be hidden, I think. So let's see. Okay, we cannot find it. Control H. No. Let's see. Good. Tools. Edit view. Show hidden. What? Okay, so I cannot see it. Is it here? Oopsie, sorry. My phone fell. Okay, so let's try and rename it. This one, I think. We can actually copy this. Let's try and copy it. I'm gonna copy it to okay, let's put it somewhere. Let's create a folder of backup here. So I have BeakPay, and we're just gonna paste this. Oh, come on. You're so slow. And let's rename it now. Hopefully it's gonna work. I think it's a language JSON file. Probably. Okay, so I have it here. And let's try again. Sudo chipper start. Okay. Let's see. Oh, it says WirePod started successfully. So let's turn the little bot on and we'll see how it goes. Okay. So I want to add in the fact that I never encountered this issue before. I assume it may be due to the fact that I went for the large vocabulary instead of the huge one. Please let me know in the comments if you encountered this issue as well, or any other type of issue. Okay, please focus. Now we have Vector connected. It says incoming message. It should work now. Okay, so it's the same screen. I didn't change anything. Let's run a command on the little bot. So we're gonna try and play blackjack. Let's see. Hey Vector, let's play blackjack. Oh, it's working. Okay.
Another card?
No.
Dealer's turn. 12. 18. You win.
Great. Don't be blue.
Play another round?
No. Okay. Let's ask him a question and see if it... Normally it shouldn't work because we don't have the knowledge graph installed. Hey Vector. Hey Vector. I have a question.
Ready.
Oh. Okay.
Knowledge graph is not enabled.
Yeah, so it's not enabled.
This can be enabled in the web interface.
Okay. So it works exactly as configured. Okay, that's it. Basically, we have this bot here as well. So this bot here isn't working. But if you stay tuned... Oh, shut up, man. Making so much noise. So if you stay tuned, hopefully I'm going to come up with a video telling the story of this bot, how I got it, and what its problems are. So thanks for watching. And by the way, we have to go with this command. So I'm going to pause this video. Thanks for watching. And stay tuned for this next command. So these are the last two lines you want to do in order to run the server automatically. Every single time you turn off, turn on the computer, it's going to start automatically. So you have these two lines. You want to copy them in the WirePod folder. So you have to go cd WirePod and then copy paste this one. Press enter. Once this is finished, you want to copy the second line, paste it, and the server is good to go. It'll start automatically. Other than this, what you can do is to remember this, save it somewhere. In case you want to see all the logs, this is a very helpful command. So keep that in mind. You may want to save this. So this is pretty much it. Thanks for watching.